Don't clap your hands. You cannot do that song. I'll be right here waiting for you by Richard Marx.
Right here waiting.
Don't clap again because we don't have this song. You can get back your request, but not the money. Good. And for your songs in mind, just write on a piece of paper and send it to us.
Anytime.
Newspaper, hot paper.
You get the picture, right?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody by the Queen.
Rhapsody.
Filipinos are versatile singers who can sing different musical genres with equal skill. This talent comes from their culture. Filipinos like to change the lyrics of the songs they sing. The singers add some fun to their songs. It's a performance that shows us the unique talents of Filipino singers.
We have comedies, and my partner do a lot of jokes, and some songs we do. We change some lines and then make it just come out like a joke, so that people will laugh.
Music and comedy. Giving performances that combine them has made the band very successful among Filipinos who like a good laugh.
Kung babae ang mangihi, magbantay kung wakbay ng li-li. Iniguman magduko-duko. Ang duko dyan eh. Simhot-simhoton ang tudlo. Isang sinanay, magtindog lang o magpabuhagay. Ikot siya ang buhi.
In Cebu, you can hear a variety of songs, ranging from traditional to fusion styles. It's a place where you can see the old and new.
Nowadays, yung Filipino songs is not existing anymore the way before because it's mixed up now with a lot of influence by outside. Now it could become pop or rap or even rock music nowadays, but they use a text that tells something about the culture of the Philippines, but it's being enhanced with a different style.
Then what does the future of Filipino music look like? We met Charlie and Joy again as they were waiting to see Sarah Geronimo at a TV station. They're members of a band and rehearse regularly about once a week. They take a 2-hour trip to the studio. You can feel their passion.
Kasi nga sikatas, parang gusto rin po nilang ilabas yung talent nila sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng banda.
After riding the jeepney for 2 hours, they arrived at the Mandalayong studio. Including Joy's band, Harmony, about 50 bands rehearse at this studio. Numerous groups' photos of bands attest to the popularity of bands in the Philippines.
The young group, they have their member who is 12 years old, and this one is 10 years old. These two they were 10 years old.
Playing in a band is a major fad among Filipino teenagers. We were surprised to learn that some people were members in 2 or 3 bands at a time.
Schoolmates ko dun sa school, marami po silang banda kasi hindi sila makontento sa isa. Parang kapag may gigs sa isa, yun, para po sure sila na may mga gigs, tapos may mga gawa sila.
On weekdays, about 3 bands will rent the studio on average, while on weekends, more than 7 bands will rent the place. The studio charges $6 per hour. A band will usually practice for 2 to 3 hours, so the total fee is not a small sum for the students.
It's the trend here in the Philippines, and there are a lot of famous bands here, and they want to, let's say, they just want to imitate them, and they want to try their luck and become famous just like their idol, I guess. The ratio, I guess, is around 80% of the youngsters wants to join the bands, or they already have their bands.
Some of the kids are just singing for fun, but most of them dream of making a career out of music. These talented and passionate teens might just be the future of Filipino music.
Singer. Kasi, di ba, yun nga, simula pagkabata ko, talagang gusto ko na po yung maging singer.
Kasi sa music, you can also express yourself, di ba? Pagka sad ka, you can compose songs, ganyan-ganyan. You can also sing senti-modes na mga songs, ganun. Tapos kapag masaya ka, you can dance, you can sing lively. Yun, masaya ka. Na-express mo yung feelings mo, emotions mo through music.
Mga kanta po namin may mga may mga sense po. Yun po. Tsaka para makilala din po kami, sana po makilala po kami para ma-share po namin yung mga po namin, mga gusto po namin ipaiwatin po.
Despite this popular teen band trend, hardly any of the members ever received formal vocal lessons. They'll learn how to sing from an older friend in the neighborhood or practice by themselves. This also suggests that many Filipinos have raw musical talent because they're learning music by simply watching and listening to others.
Where you will find somebody who sings at the drop of a needle, who can easily pick up a tune and play it in an instrument if he can. That would be a Filipino.
A lot of Filipinos also, sometimes they don't want to sing, but they want to play. That's why this is the youth that a group that they want to join ba. Instead of singing, playing. That's why band all over, they can express it.
Later in the evening, we met another band. In a run-down home that was converted into a studio, several people with day jobs gathered together. Their love for music has brought them together.
Isa mababa, siya mataas. Passion ko lang kasi yung music eh. So, yun lang. Hindi naman kami maano sa masyado sa pera eh. Kahit hindi kami bayaran ng sa gig. Okay lang.
Isang voting Red Doors lang. Okay lang.
Maraming magkakakilala ng metal bands sa underground scene. Dito sa Maynila. Kahit sa Cavite, gano'n.
The difference between this band and teen bands is that the members are not interested in becoming professional musicians. They're content to live out their passion while working during the day.
Depende sa genre ng kukunin mong ano. Pag nasa metal, wala masyadong ano, kasi bihira yung nakikinig sa metal. So kung gusto mo magkapera, show band, mag-show band ka.
We visited an agency that manages show bands. We watched one band which booked a performance in Singapore rehearse their songs. But during the rehearsal, the guitarist and drummers kept listening to a single song on a laptop. The drummer lightly tapped his drums while listening to the song, and the vocalist memorized the lyrics.
Tita, okay lang yan. Dito na lang ako para pinig ko.
After listening to the song for about 10 minutes, they were able to write the music themselves. Then they began to rehearse.
Pinapakinggan namin. Siguro gift yun sa amin as musician. Maraming gumagawa nun. Siguro by practice din. Kahit mga in 10 minutes, tapos susulat na namin, papakinggan.
It took barely 10 minutes for them to start rehearsing a song they had just heard for the first time. We were amazed at how they accomplished this before our very eyes.
Very unique is the high sense of musicality of Filipinos, despite the fact that not all of them have formal training in music.
An overseas employment office in the Philippines is crowded with people all morning. Working overseas is common for Filipinos. Every year, about 300,000 Filipinos go abroad to work. Many of them will be hired as domestic workers, but 2.4% of them will work as musicians, which is one of the top 10 overseas jobs among Filipinos. At its peak, there were more than 80,000 entertainers working abroad. With so many people applying for overseas working permits, agencies handle the process of securing a visa from the employment office. But many Asian countries have recently tightened restrictions and only issue working permits to professional Filipino musicians. As a result, the number of applicants who are approved has fallen to 1/10 of what it used to be.
Laki pa yung 8,000. So, meaning, siguro ang nakakaalis na lang 8%. Wala nga 10% eh, kasi kung 8,000, 10%. 10% nakakaalis lang.
Since the enforcement of tighter restrictions, musicians who have already secured working visas are envied by show bands members in the Philippines, especially since they can earn more money abroad.
They work abroad and they bring in, remittances, no? But other than that, what I'd like to emphasize also is that these Filipino entertainers and musicians, all of them, bring honor and recognition to the Philippines in musical terms.
In January, we met a familiar friend.
Oh, Mr. Lee!
Mr. Conrado.
Miss Ara.
Mr. Conrado's visa had expired, so he returned home after 2.5 years.
And Ara. Ado. Tal Ado. Youngest.
His youngest son, who he hasn't seen for a while, has grown much taller.
Small.
Mr. Conrado takes us somewhere to proudly show something off. It is a new home that Mr. Conrado is building. With the money he earned in Korea, he began building this home 6 months ago. Only the main structure and walls have been erected so far, but the married couple have grand plans for their new home.
We canceled the house here. This is two house together, duplex. But we cancel. Ajikton opsoyo.
Future.
Nadyong every Filipino family's dream is to have their own house. Even looking at the house makes me feel happy. That is my trophy.
I have a dream.